I have said on this channel many, many times, I am a big, big lover of history. And for any real, true lover of history, you should know that there is good history and there is bad history because no country is ever really, shall we say, truly innocent. Bad stuff happened in history. That is a fact. And the thing is, we should probably definitely pay more attention to the bad stuff that happens in history so that we don't end up repeating that history. That is pretty important. But for conservatives, they are trying to import, once again, this idea of the culture wars stuff that just as you see in America, where there is this big, big push at the moment to really talk about historically slavery and the reality of what slavery was and the consequences that went on not only during slavery but after slavery as well, because that would mean you would actually have to talk about the consequences and the legacy that is still affecting communities in America today. It means they are completely against really discussing actual history. And this is being imported by Conservative MPs in an effort to try and take over the National Trust. Now, you may remember we talked about this last year, and last year they failed. But this year, they are doing a renewed effort. And once again, it is worth reminding you about this, because if you want to fight back against this, then first things first, if you are already a member of the National Trust, the AGM is coming up in November. Soon you will be receiving your voting documents to vote on people as who you want to be your members, your board of the National Trust. You have to be aware of an organization called Restore Trust. This is the body that claims to love history and love all these historical sites that the National Trust takes care of, but then doesn't actually want to talk about actual history. Doesn't want to talk about the reality of how some of these places got the wealth to be able to build these magnificent palaces and places that they ended up building that they love to claim so much, but they don't want to talk about how that was funded. And we have to fight back against this. So bear in mind, if you're a member of the National Trust, you will be getting that soon. And beware those people who are part of Restore Trust. Do not vote for them because they lost last time. However, this is their new push. What they want to do is last time they tried to reach out to the membership and to get them to vote this way. That failed. Their new tactic is they now want to try and attract in new members who are already programmed to their cause to increase their vote share. So I am making a call to anyone who maybe you do go and enjoy these National Trust properties, and if you aren't a member, well, consider becoming a member and voting against these complete lunatics that are going to try and do some of this stuff. And the thing is, if these people get a majority on the National Trust board, they will do a lot of harm. They will do a lot of harm to the heritage of Britain's history, of these sites. One in particular last year was actually talking about destroying historical texts that made reference to slavery. I kid you not, that was an actual position one of those guys was taking last year. Now, luckily, he lost and didn't get voted on the board. Quite rightly so. But this is the danger. This is the danger you have to be careful of. This is why you do not want to let these lunatics in. They are dangerous. But of course, where is the true home for these lunatics to come out and spread their wonderful nonsense message? Well, of course, it's Conservative home. And now we are seeing the first of these pushes to get people to join the National Trust and then to vote for these absolute lunatics that are part of Restore Trust. So please do share this video. If you know someone is a member of National Trust, share this video with them. Share it in groups with people that you know, because this is important to recognize that these people who are a part of Restore Trust do not really respect Britain's heritage. They do not love history as they claim to do. They do not really like history at all. Because if you really want to talk about history, well, you can talk about the good stuff, but hey, look beneath the curtain, pull back the curtains, and there's a ton of bad stuff that happened in history. That should not be left out of a conversation of these sites. But that is what they are trying to do. They are trying to stop actual historical work by historians, archaeologists, researchers of looking into Britain's past. And when they find this stuff, they don't want them talking about it. And as I said, there was a member last year of Restore Trust who had openly talked about destroying some of those documents. That should not be ever quantified, to destroy these historical texts, regardless of what is on them, even if you do not like them. The fact that one of these this documents that he talked about was actually talking about an accounts book from the plantation in Jamaica where this was from, and it talked about the buying and selling of slaves, and this guy was openly talking about that should be destroyed. Why? That's a part of history. Slavery happened, it existed. Why are these crazy nut jobs so obsessed with trying to deny that ever happened? Well, I'd said before at the beginning, if you allow them to, get rid of this as a conversation, then you can't later have conversations about what happened after slavery, the problems and the legacy of slavery that it still causes today. And as a result, these idiots are once again trying to make a push to retake over the National Trust again. And we have to make sure that they do not get on the board, because it will be dangerous, it will be detrimental to our heritage. And even though they say that they respect Britain's heritage, they are anything but respecting Britain's heritage. Because if you really do respect Britain's heritage, well, you've got to take the good and the bad. And there's nothing wrong with that, because it's history. It happened. And yet, for an organization that claims to respect Britain's heritage, they do anything but respect history, heritage, and even our very own history of what we were involved with. And I think that is the greatest shame of all. But we have to be careful of these lunatics. So make no mistake, this probably will not be the last video that we make on these Restore Trust lunatics. But like I say, please, please, please do help me fight to keep these fools as far away from having any positions of power on the National Trust. So as always, thank you very much for watching. And as always, we'll see you all next time.